All right, our big guest of the week is Pete Fiutak from collegefootballnews.com, one of the best out there, always breaks it down. Welcome to the show, man. How you been?
I'm doing all right. This is fun. I know not for you guys necessarily, but this has been a crazy, weird season, especially in the SEC West. And man, I mean, there's no shortage of storylines here going forward, especially with what's coming this weekend.
Yeah, man. So, all right, I've been around a lot of negativity when it comes to the A&M program recently because obviously they're not living up to the perceived standard and the perceived level of excellence that everybody expected this year, at least here internally. So I ask you, give me a reason for optimism for A&M to shock the world again against Bama. Is there some reason for optimism? Have you seen anything?
How about that Arkansas had them? There was that moment where all of a sudden they did this 2 years in a row where Alabama looked great to start the game. Arkansas started to roar back, and just when it was 28-23, it was like all of a sudden and Alabama realized, oh yeah, we're Alabama, we're going to do that. And then game over with a couple of Jahmyr Gibbs runs and that Milroe run. But Alabama is not this be all end all team that everyone's making it out to be. It's certainly great. It could certainly win the national championship, but this is not Nick Saban's best team. And if Bryce Young's hurt, that's a different team. Of course, Milroe is dangerous, but you've got enough of a defense that can kind of keep that backfield in check. And if you're going to make Milroe try to throw, or even Bryce Young try to throw, the wide receivers aren't there. They don't have the Jamison Williams. They don't have the Jerry Judys and the Devontae Smith. They don't have that normal superstar level of wide receiver that they normally have. And one more part of this is just the Texas A&M style. Look, I mean, for bad, A&M, what's the stat? I think they're last in the nation in some offensive category, of some sort. But that's because they grind things down to a halt. And it's not good if you get a lead on them and you have to make things a shootout. But on the flip side, they're going to control the tempo of this game. If you keep it within the 20s and not make it some crazy, up and down shootout, yeah, the pressure's all on the other side. No one's expecting A&M to do anything in this. So it's all on the other side of the field in this game in terms of how tight that's going to get if the game gets is close longer and longer in.
Are you surprised how inefficient on the offensive side A&M has been this year?
No, I am one, and I see what's coming. I see next year and the year after with these recruiting classes, at least the talent's going to be there where this is going to get better. But you don't have the offensive weapons now, especially without, Smith around, especially without you don't have the quarterback play in place. You just don't have the skill guys compared to the rest of the SEC at the moment. But you got the infrastructure, you got the lines, you've got enough of a defense. So I was not shocked that the offense is not exploding like it really should, because again, that's not necessarily the style that's been working for A&M under. It wasn't the style for a while after the Jameis era was over at Florida State under Jimbo Fisher. So eventually that's going to come around. But in a game like this, yeah, they can grind this down to a nub and keep it close, and let's see what happens late.
How cool is this Kansas TCU game? The fact that, TCU, some people thought left for dead. Kansas, a team that, I know they beat Texas last year, but nobody expected what they've been able to do so far. Now they get game day.
Give me the easy out in the Big 12. I mean, if Kansas is all of a sudden pretty good, it's crazy, but technically Texas might be like the 5th or 6th best team at the moment. I mean, West Virginia, is that your worst team? Texas Tech? I mean, all 10 teams in that conference now are a problem. And Kansas, they screwed us up because, okay, we got Kansas. All right, they're winning games, but they're winning them 55-52. They have no defense, but they have a fun offense. Lance Leipold's one of the best coaches going. And then they go out there and win a slugfest against Iowa State. So they've been versatile enough to hang. TCU's always been one of those programs. When it was under Gary Patterson, one year it just didn't quite work. Then they fixed the glitch, and then everything starts to kick in. Lots of injuries last year. They're healthy this year and rested. They've only played 4 games and it's been spread out. We'll see now. We'll see just how real Kansas is. I'm having a hard time still buying in. I kind of like TCU more in this, but yeah, that is a crazy thing in a Big 12. It's gotten a whole lot better, a lot faster.
Again, that I think is pretty big, that not a lot of people are talking about TennesseeLSU. What this could mean for Brian Kelly, and really what it can mean for Tennessee, who's a team that people think, yeah, they're good, but can they keep it going?
I keep saying if LSU had played who was their week 2 game? They played someone like Southern or McNeese State or one of those, some FCS team in week 2. If you flip it around, if they were able to start the season, which I think every team should do, with the FCS team, they just weren't sharp against Florida State. You could see it. That just looked like a team that needed a game or two just to kind of get their sea legs under them and just kind of get going. If they'd had that one warm-up game first, they beat Florida State, and we're talking a whole different animal here with LSU. They're not there yet, talent-wise, compared to the Alabamas and the Georgias, the SEC, but they've got guys there. They've got the lines. They've got the ability. They're just going to kind of keep going along. Personally, I don't like Brian Kelly from a whole slew of things and from his time at Notre Dame, but that is one good football coach. I mean, the guy's the winningest football coach in the history of Notre Dame. He went to 2 college football playoffs and a national championship game, got trucked in all 3, but still he got him there. He knows what he's doing. So he's a good coach with a good base of talent and not a lot of pressure because no one's expecting them to win the SEC championship this year. And then on the flip side, Tennessee, they're rested. Let's see what you got. No defense, all offense. This is what you wanted to see if you're a Vols fan or Josh Heupel. You've got your plan. You've got a team now that's going to be fun. It's exciting. Hendon Hooker is still one of the most underappreciated quarterbacks in college football. This is going to be one of those moments when we see if Tennessee's for real or if LSU really is going to be a player in this whole thing.
All right, so there's the Aggie in me that thinks this Arkansas-Mississippi State game needs to go one way, and that's Mississippi State trucking them, even though they've already lost to LSU. But how do you see this game going?
Again, this is going to be any given week in the SEC West. We know what Auburn is. Auburn's never going to score, but so there's your one relatively easy out. But good luck trying to figure out anybody else because this is almost like NFL where any game, including A&M Alabama to a certain extent, you're not shocked. I mean, obviously a 20-something point favorite, you're shocked, but you wouldn't be like completely floored if A&M did this. And same with this. I mean, Mississippi State, Arkansas, again, another one of those teams that built itself up under Sam Pittman. They've got the offensive and defensive lines. You've got a really strong quarterback in KJ Jefferson. You've got everything else quite there to just be this close to being really good. And this is the first time Mike Leach has had an amazing defense. He's never had this talent at Texas Tech or Washington State. And he's got a veteran quarterback who knows what he's doing. And so as long as that little dink and dunk passing game can control the game, I think Mississippi State's going to control this and win it.
All right, last one for you. Texas and Oklahoma. Can both of them lose? I'm kidding, but Texas has been close in these games. Oklahoma, when they've lost, they've royally lost.
And it's one of those rivalries where the team that's not supposed to win ends up kind of showing up because that is a pressure game. And we know how soft Texas can be at times, at least over the last few years as a program. And Oklahoma, as bad as it's looked over the last few weeks, let's see how Dylan Gabriel is, see if he's, see what the quarterback situation is going to be like. But that's just one of those series where the underdog always seems to rise up and play just a little bit better under the pressure. I kind of like Oklahoma getting points in this, but that is going to be that's a moment where if you're Steve Sarkisian, you've got to win this game because if you're Texas, you came that close against Alabama. You already lost to Texas Tech. You can't lose to Oklahoma at this point.
P. Fiutak, thanks so much, brother. I'll talk to you on your show this weekend, my man.
I'm looking forward to it. We need your help. We need you to elevate the game of our show, and you're going to certainly be able to do that for us.
We'll bring it, man. Thanks so much for your time.
Have a great rest of the week.